Hello guys, welcome back again. My name is Vikram Singh and you're watching Python the series of basic. So in this video I'm going to talk about function. So let me explain the whole outline of this video. First I'm going to talk about what is function and how it differs from the others. Then I'll talk about function using different argument, and next we'll talk about using return statement in the function, and at the very end we'll create a shopping list using function. So let's first talk about how function differ from other. So till now in this Python series, we do what? There's one thing common, whatever we did in past videos, there's one thing is common. If we want to write down or we want to run a one line of code, we just write that line of code and we'll run it. What if I say that we want to run a block of code? That's where function become handy, and that's where function is used. So function basically do what? It is a collection of code that runs through one line of command, and it's called the calling of function. So let's see an example how all this is done. So first I'll write down the whole block of code, then I'll explain what this block of code is. Def func and print hi. So here's the block of code. So in this block of code, we use a def statement to create a function object, and that object then assigned to a name. Here the name is function, and we create a function. So basically def means define, and function is the name of function. Open close parenthesis, colon, and whatever in this function after colon is the body of that function. Now if I run it, you'll see what it's gonna output. It's gonna output nothing because it's a function. And to run a function, you have to call that function. Now, how are you going to call a function? So to call a function, you just simply type the name of function and open close parenthesis and run it. See, whatever in the body, it will output hello and hi. Now, the best thing about function is that you can call it as many times as you want and it will execute that very times. So if I say func again, it's going to run it again. See here we'll 3 times call that function. If I run it, so it's gonna output 3 times. See, hello, hi, all that repeated to 3 times. That's the best thing about function. You can call it any way if you want to use it. So in this block of code, here you will see the open and close parentheses, and these parentheses are used to store the argument. So let's create another function where we're gonna define argument within these open and close parentheses. So we're gonna name that function as num, and now let's put an argument x, and then we're going to use that argument in the body of that function. So y is equivalent to what? X addition 2, 3. Now we'll print that variable that we just created called y. So here we do what? Through this argument, we'll use that argument in the body of this function, and then we'll print that whole output in the form of y. So if I run it function, we have to call the function called num. Now within these open and close parentheses, we need to define, or we need to put the value of that argument. So let's say 4. If I run it, it's gonna output 7 because 4 is added to 3, and then the whole output is stored in a variable called by, and then we output it. So this way we create a function using single argument. Similarly, we can create another function using multiple argument. Define another function. This one is using multiple argument. So let's say def, say func2, and now we're gonna put multiple argument in this function, say x and y, colon, and say z is equivalent to what? Z is equivalent to the summation of x and y. So now we'll say print z. We'll store the value of summation x and y in another variable called z, and now we're gonna call this function using 2 arguments. So if I say func2, we have to put 2 arguments, 3 and 4. Now this is gonna output 9. So if I run it, you'll see the output is 8, actually 3 and 5. So here we use 2 arguments in our function. Now let's talk about the role of return statement in a function. So what return statement gonna do in our function? So create a function with a name called num. The name of function is num, and this function with one single argument, say this, and say z is equivalent to x multiplication 4. We multiply that argument with a 4, and we'll store the whole thing in a z, and we'll say return z. So return statement basically do what? It exit the function. It will stop the function or halt the function at that particular condition. After return, whatever you're gonna put, it's not gonna execute. So So let's call this function num and let's put a argument 5 and let's run it. See, it output nothing. And to see what's the output of this function, we need to call this function within the print function, within the print. So if I say print and let's run it, now it's gonna output the whole multiplication is equivalent to 20. Now let's do one thing. Let's try to write some extra code after that return statement. So if I say this and say print hello and let's run it again and see whether it output. No, there's no hello in our whole code because after return the whole function is got exit. So it's not gonna affect whether you're gonna put any line of code after that return statement. So this is how return statement is used in function, and it becomes pretty handy when you try to run down or try to nest your function within multiple functions. That time use various return statements. So this is how we use single or a multiple argument in our function. Now let's create a shopping list and try to see how it works. So say list and let's create a function with a name called shop list and so here's the block of code. So what we do in this block of code, first we create a function with a name called shop list. There's no argument in this function. Then we create a variable which is equivalent to the user input. Through input function, we take input from the user saying what you want to purchase, and if that input is equivalent to LF means lady finger, then run down to the next user input called how much you want. See, we run an int function in front of that input. So through this we want the integral input. Then we say if integral input is equivalent to 1, then say you are welcome. Else we're gonna call that function shop list again. And if that not happen, at the very last condition, we again call that shop list. So let's call this function and the last say shop and list. Oh, I think we are missing something. We are missing these open and close parentheses while we are calling that function with the if or with the else statement. So let's make it again and let's run it. See, it says what you want to purchase. Now what you want to purchase, we want to purchase lady finger. If instead of lady finger we'll say anything or random thing, say like anything, it again gonna call that function because the last else statement says that if first input is not equivalent to lady finger, then again call that whole function. So this is how it happening. So let's see here, let's put a lady finger. Now it's gonna say how much you want. See, here is we have to input an integer. If I say accept one whatever, it again gonna start from the initial saying how much you want to purchase or what you want to purchase. So again I say LF. Now we have to specify what quantity we want to purchase. If I say 1, here saying you are welcome. So this is how we create a function and we call a function. We use a single argument or a multiple argument in a function, and the very last we create a shopping list using function. And in the coming lecture we're going to talk more about function, and all the code that we discussed over here will be available over GitHub, link in the description. And thanks for watching. See you in the next video.